Hi everyone, welcome back to Get Your Play Online. If you've not met me before, my name is Carly, and this week we have our end of the summer back to school week, and on Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we always have fun in my kitchen. So this is my kitchen here, and like I said, we are having a end of the summer back to school theme week for anyone that is starting back at school, which is super exciting, whether you're online or in person. I'm super excited. I am back at school now, so this was very fitting for me as well. So one of my favorite things about school when I was younger was the school bus. I just thought it was super fun. You got to hang out with your friends. You got to ride on this big, huge bus that you didn't need a seatbelt on. It was just a really fun, cool concept. So I decided this week that we would have fun in the kitchen by making Rice Krispie treats, which are one of my favorite treats to make. And we would make those Rice Krispie treats look like school buses. So if you did not see them, this is how they turned out. I think they are super cute. They look really fun, and they're pretty simple to make. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about what we need in order to make these school bus Rice Krispie treats, and then we'll get on to making them. And I will leave a little picture down below when I'm done with the video that has all the ingredients you need, and you can always rewatch this video if you need to go back and have a refresher of how to make them. But we'll go ahead and get started to make our cute little school buses. So the ingredients you are going to need are the stuff to make the Rice Krispie treats. Now you can make homemade Rice Krispie treats, or you can do the store-bought little Rice Krispie treats. Either one works. We're going to make some homemade ones today. They're really easy to make. You will need to use the stove, so just be careful because it does get really hot. So if you need help, feel free to ask an older sibling, family member that you have around to help you out. But you're going to need some Rice Krispie cereal. I have this one. It's an off-brand, totally works the same. And on the box, it tells you right here how to make some Rice Krispie treats. So I just followed this exactly how it says. I already made half of the box so I could make the sample one that I showed you, and so I have some cooled and ready to go when we have to decorate, but I'll be making the other half now. So with this box, it tells you that you need a half a cup of butter, 2 10-ounce packages of mini marshmallows, and then the 12-ounce box of cereal and some cooking spray. So I have all of that. So here's our cereal, our marshmallows, some butter. Like I said, it is cut in half, so I only need half of this box, 1 bag of marshmallows, and half of my stick of butter. And then I have cooking spray, which is really important because this does get very sticky, so you want to be able to remove it easily from your pan. So that's really helpful when doing that. And then when we go to decorate our fun school bus, you're going to need some chocolate candy melts. You could also use frosting if you can buy yellow frosting, or use food coloring to color it yellow. But I just found some little chocolate candy melts I've used several times, and these ones are yellow like a school bus. You're also going to need some mini Oreos to make the little wheels for your bus. You could also use a chocolate candy melt that's brown, some kind of other little cookie, anything that's like a circle that would look good as a little wheel, but I chose to use some mini Oreos. I love Oreos, so works out. You're going to want some red M&ms to make your little stop sign on your bus, the little stop sign that goes in and out. So I have some M&ms here. I just grabbed a box. And then the last thing you're going to need are these fun sugar sheets. So they're basically an edible piece of paper, and I got mine to be black, and these are going to look like windows on your school bus. If you cannot find these, I found these at Walmart, so super simple in the little decorating where like you buy cake decorating things. I found these and the yellow chocolate candy melts in that aisle. But they're really easy, so I chose to use these. You could use fondant that you actually roll out, or you could use some kind of melting chocolate that you piped into little squares. But I thought these were fun and easy and something different, so I'm going to use these today. And I think that is all we need. So the first thing we always do when we're in the kitchen and handling food is wash our hands for at least 20 seconds. So I'm going to start with that. I like to remember 20 seconds, that time frame. I like to remember by singing happy birthday 2 times. So if you want to sing along with me, feel free. If it's your birthday, then happy birthday to you. So here we go. Grab some soap and some water, and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. One more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Perfect. Rinse them off. All right. Got a towel over here. And we will get started by making our Rice Krispie treats first. So, the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my stove just so we can get this heating up. Like I said, everything gets combined into this pan. So just be careful if you're doing it because it does get really hot. So I'm going to turn it to about a medium heat. I don't want it too hot because I don't want things to burn. So I just do a little bit of a medium heat. While that's warming up, I'm going to take my cooking spray and a pan. Like I said, I am only doing half of the Rice Krispie treats because I already made half. So I just have this 8x8 pan, but this tells you on it the size that you would typically use for a full thing of Rice Krispie treats was 9x13. So I'm just using this since I'm cutting in half. I'm going to take some cooking spray and just spray my pan really well. Like I said, they are very sticky, so you want to make sure that they're not going to stick in there. You could also throw some parchment paper in there if you want, but mine came out fine with just the cooking spray, so I'm going to do that again today. All right, and like I said, this is heating up over here, so I'm going to go ahead and drop in my butter to help that start melting. Typically, we'd use the half cup butter, which is usually a whole stick, but because I'm just doing half of the recipe, we're going to use a half stick or 4 tablespoons of butter. I'll scoot you closer in just a second. All right, I'm going to move our things over here, so hopefully you can see a little bit better. All we're doing right now is starting to melt our butter. So hopefully, oops. So all we're doing over here is melting our butter. And you just want to I'm using a wooden spoon. You just want to stir it around and get your butter melting. Shouldn't take very long. So we're just getting our butter all melted on our stove over here. Stirring it around. You want to kind of keep stirring it to make sure that it doesn't burn. So I think the best way, like I said, to do that is just to keep stirring it. And make sure that it's not getting too hot. And then the butter melts pretty quickly. I just put it in and it's already, so you can, no, can't really see that. I don't want to spill it everywhere. But it's about melted. You'll know once it's basically a liquid now. So our butter is already all melted. So the next thing we're going to do is take our mini marshmallows. There's usually a recipe on the mini marshmallows too, so whichever you want to use, they're the exact same recipe, which is good. I'm going to put this, and I am actually just going to dump all of our marshmallows into this pan or pot with our butter that's all melted in there. And then you want to coat these marshmallows in the butter. So you're just going to keep stirring them. Might have picked a little bit of a small pot over here, but we'll make do. So you're just going to keep stirring. Once again, you want to keep stirring so that it's not getting stuck to the bottom of your pan, and so that you're not burning the marshmallows because they melt pretty quickly. Rice Krispie treats, like I said, they're one of my favorite treats to make. I think they're super simple. They don't require a lot of ingredients or a lot of time. And I feel like most people love Rice Krispie treats. I don't know how you don't, so I like making them. They're fun to make, whether you're just eating them at home or if you're going somewhere. So I'm excited about them. My school right now is all online, so it's a little bit different. So you'll have to tell me if you're back in school and if you're online or in person. Either way, I think it's going to be good. You're going to get to have lots of learning. Maybe you have some little Zoom or Skype meetings where you can see your teachers and learn. So as you can see, they're starting to really fluff up and get all melted. So we're just going to keep on stirring. Lots of stirring. Your arm might get a little bit tired. You can always have someone help you out with this part if you need to, but shouldn't take too long. They smell really good too. I don't know if you've ever watched some of like the Cake Boss shows or anything like that, but they always make a lot of really fun things out of Rice Krispie treats. So it kind of made me feel like I was on that show and get to make some fun Rice Krispie treat little sculptures. These ones are a lot easier to make than the ones they do, but you can get creative and make other things that remind you of back to school or other vehicles. Maybe you could try and make a police car or a fire truck. But I'm going to do my school bus today. Our marshmallows are almost all melted. Luckily, because my arm's getting tired. So you'll kind of see it's just a ooey gooey marshmallow butter mess. And now that they're about melted, I am going to go ahead and we're going to open up our cereal. We're going to take this off the heat, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. We're going to carefully, I'm just going to move it right here. And then I already used, excuse me, I already used half my bag of cereal. So I'm going to use the other half now. The other fun thing is you can use different kinds of cereals than Rice Krispies. You could, if you have a favorite type of cereal, you could use that instead. But I'm just going to do the standard Rice Krispie today. So I'm just going to start with a little bit of about half the cereal that I need, just because this pot is a little bit small. I probably should have used my bigger one, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I'll go ahead and add the rest of it. Woo! Right to the top. Now it's a little bit harder to stir. And you just want to make sure that it's all well incorporated. So you want the cereal and the marshmallow to be really sticking together so that when you put it in your pan to form your Rice Krispie treats, they hold together. So you just want to make sure everything is well combined. You'll kind of start to see the marshmallow that used to just be a white pile is now kind of spread throughout all of your cereal. Try and get some of that off the bottom. Stir it in. All right, that's looking pretty good. I think it'll work. So everything is combined and stirred. Probably would be easier to stir if you have a bigger pot so that you're not worried about making a mess. I'm going to move you back over here so that we can come to the counter again. All right. So we have our little baking pan, whatever pan you want to use to put your Rice Krispie treats in. We have that, and we already sprayed it all down. So now all we're going to do is take our Rice Krispie treat mixture and we're going to put it all in here. Oh, look at that ooey gooey cereal. Yum. All right. Put that there for now. And just going to kind of squish it down in here. All right. And then one of my favorite tricks, I'll show you in a second, is using some wax paper to kind of press all this down, because I think it really helps all the Rice Krispie treats stick together so that when you want to cut them and pull them out later, they hold their shape. And you can always feel free to lick this little spoon if you would like to. I won't be doing that right now, but it's always a fun part. So like I said, I just take a little bit of wax paper. You don't have to do this step, I just find it helpful. Find one about the size of your pan, go ahead and rip it off, and I put it right on top, and then I just press it on here. And this just helps everything really stick together and push into place so that when we want to cut them and take them out later, they hold their shape really nicely, which I think is important when we're trying to make little school bus shapes. So I just do that. You can either leave this parchment paper on here, or you can go ahead and take it off now. And you can cover it with clear plastic wrap if you'd like. I'm just going to leave this for now because I do not need it. Because you want to let this cool completely before you begin to cut and decorate your little school buses. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this off to the side. I usually just leave it out on the counter to cool. I made my Rice Krispie treats last night, so they were able to sit and cool overnight. And they're still nice and soft. They didn't like get stale or hard or anything, so they worked out fine. But I just recommend making sure that they have time to cool so the marshmallow will kind of harden back up and hold it all together. So I'm going to set this aside. And these are the ones that I told you I made last night. So I just ended up cutting my Rice Krispie treats from that exact same pan. I just cut them into rectangles, so I cut once down the middle and twice across to make 6 rectangles. These rectangles are pretty big, so you can make them smaller if you'd like. I just made really big ones, but feel free to make them the size you want. But you do want them to be rectangles once you cut them out of the pan. So we have our rectangles, and like I said, if you want to use store-bought Rice Krispie treats, that's totally fine. They're already rectangles usually, so that's really helpful. So we have our rectangles here, and the first thing I'm going to do is start melting our chocolate just to get that done and out of the way. So I already put some of those little candy melts that I showed you earlier into a microwave-safe bowl. You're not going to need a whole lot. I just covered, as you saw before, I just covered the top of mine that I was decorating with yellow, but if you want to go around all the sides, I did not do that. If you want to go around all the sides, you'll need a little bit more chocolate. If not, then it's just the top, so you don't need very much. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the microwave. There are microwaving directions on the package. I like to just put it in for 15 to 30 seconds, take it out, stir it, put it back in, another 15 seconds, take it out, stir it, just because you can always add more time, but if it gets burnt, you kind of have to throw it away. There's not much you can do once it's burnt, so it's better to just start with less time. So just do little tiny increments of time. I'm going to put that in there. We'll start with 30 seconds. That should be fine. And then I'm just going to get a spoon and we'll stir that once it comes out. I like these little chocolate candy melts. They're super simple. They're not very expensive. They taste good. The colored ones just taste like white chocolate. So if you like white chocolate, then you're in luck. So, alright, so that was in there for about 30 seconds. I'm going to go and open it. Just be careful. Sometimes your bowl might be a little bit warm, so just be careful taking it out. I'm going to go ahead and just stir it up. It might look like it's not very melted, but you have to just stir it a little bit, and you'll see that it's already starting to melt. They don't take very long to melt, so it's a pretty quick process. I'm going to stick it back in, and we'll do another 15. Like I said, just be patient. Just do little increments of time, and it won't take very long, but it's better to just start off slow so that you can keep doing it and you don't burn it or you have to restart the whole thing. Alright, so that was another 15. And carefully remove that and stir it up, and you'll see it's already pretty much all melted. So that was only 45 seconds, so it does not take long at all. Alright, and then I like to just keep stirring it. It kind of helps if there's a little bit, if there's a couple bigger pieces in there. Usually once you stir them around, they'll mix with that warm chocolate and melt all by themselves. You don't usually have to stick it back in or anything. So that is looking perfect. Kind of looks like mustard. That's funny. So I'm gonna put that over here. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring our decorating supplies over here so we have them ready to go. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is cut the shape of our bus. I'm gonna grab my sample bus real quick. So as you'll see, I just cut out one of the corners so that it has a little bit of an indent here, and I think it helps the shape really look a lot more like a bus than if it was just a straight rectangle cut. So we're just gonna cut one of the corners. You can have your bus facing either direction, so I'm gonna take my little Rice Krispie treat here, and hopefully you should be able to see. I'm just gonna go ahead and basically on one end, kind of halfway, we're gonna make a little bit of a cut. I'm just using a butter knife here because they're pretty soft and easy to cut. And then, so we just cut right here in the middle, and then we're gonna cut here to make a square cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut there, make sure this cut's already off, and it's already more bus shaped. So all we did was cut off a little square. You can feel free to coat these in chocolate if you want, or just set them aside and eat them as a snack later. That's what I did yesterday when I made mine, and that's probably what I'll do today. So just cutting a little square out of the front end of your bus. And like I said, you could have your square on this side, you could have it on this side, whichever way you prefer to make your little cut, to make your front of your bus. So I'm gonna go ahead and make another one so we can decorate a couple of them. These ones are pretty large, but so same thing, we're gonna take it, we're gonna cut about halfway in the middle and just make a little cut down. Like I said, you don't want a very big square, maybe like a 1-inch square out of it. So we cut right down the middle here, and then we're gonna cut across to make our square. So now we're gonna cut across. Doesn't have to be perfect. And there we go, another little school bus. All right, let's do one more. So we'll do the same thing, this time cutting in the middle here and cutting a square out of it. All right, so now we have our little square that we can save for later and eat as a snack. And we have this. So all I'm doing is removing one of the corners, cutting out a square to make kind of a shape of a bus. Like I said, you can have them facing either direction. So now I have two different, two buses facing different directions. So we have our little buses here, and we have our melted chocolate. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put some of the melted chocolate. Like I said, with mine, I only covered the top, but if you wanna cover the whole thing, feel free. It might take a little bit longer to harden because there's gonna be more chocolate, but that's fine. I'm gonna take my little butter knife that I just used to cut to frost them. You could use your spoon, you could use a special icing spatula. I'm just gonna use this butter knife, it'll work just fine. And we're just gonna spread it on here. It's kind of lumpy and bumpy, but it's fun, it will work. So like I said, you can use as much or as little you want. If you want to go all the way around the sides, feel free. I'm just gonna do the top of mine, just the part that we're putting all the little decorations on, but you do what you want for your little school bus. So I'm just gonna do them one at a time because I don't want my chocolate to harden up too much, or the stuff we're putting on there won't stick as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and decorate this one really quick before we move on to the other ones. So first I'm gonna take my mini Oreos here. I'm actually gonna grab another butter knife. Okay, so I have another butter knife here. I'm gonna grab one of my little Oreos, and we're just gonna take one of the cookie pieces, and we're gonna put this like if it was tires. So you just wanna think about this is the bottom of your bus, and typically, let me put down this knife so you can see. Typically you'd have one tire probably around here and one back here. So you're just gonna kind of stick it on there, and that melted chocolate should kind of act as glue. So there's our one little tire. And then this one has the cream, so I'm just gonna take the cream off with the butter knife very gently and set that aside. You can eat it later if you'd like. And we're gonna take our other one. Like I said, typically our little tire would be somewhere back here. So we're going to put it on over there. And now we have 2 of our little tires on our school bus. Now what we're going to do is use these fun sugar sheets I told you about. So I'm going to take one out. I already have started to cut one. So this is one I was working on earlier. So they look like this little piece of paper, and then one side is very shiny. You can probably see how, yeah, there we go, how shiny it is. So all you're going to do is use some scissors. It's pretty easy to cut, but if you need help because the scissors are sharp, feel free to just ask someone for help. And you're just going to cut a thin strip off of here. And we're going to be cutting this into smaller squares. So here is my example I showed you earlier. So those little squares were made from this to make little windows. So with this, with the shiny part that I showed you, that actually comes off. So you have to peel a little plastic piece. I don't know if you can see that very well, but see there's a little plastic piece on here. That peels off because we don't want to eat that. And then this little piece of paper is actually edible paper. So if I wanted to just eat this right now, I could, but I'm not going to because we're going to use it on our bus and I'll eat it once it's on the bus. So we're going to take our scissors again, make sure that they're nice and clean, food safe scissors, and we're just going to cut a little square, just like that. And like I said, this can be eaten, so we're just going to put it right on our bus to act as a window. And you can do as many windows as you want. On my earlier example, I did 3, whatever you'd like to use, however many. And we're just going to add our little windows. Super simple. I'll do 3 on this one. That's probably how many will fit. So you can see I have my 3 little windows there again with our little Oreo wheels. And then the last part, one of the most important parts of a school bus, is the stop sign, because that helps cars know when to stop so that you can cross the street. So I always remember stop signs are red, so I chose to use red M&ms. You can use a different color if you'd like, or if you have Skittles laying around, feel free to use those. I just decided on an M&M. And I'm going to put it right up front by our front window, and that is our little stop sign that would come in and out. So there is another one of our buses finished. Like I said, I did cut a few more, so we'll decorate another one together just in case you want to watch again. And move our big spoon out of the way. So we have another bus here. We're going to start with our yellow frosting, or chocolate, and we're going to cover our school bus. I'm really excited to try these. I love Rice Krispie treats, especially the homemade ones. I always think they're better, but I think the store-bought ones are pretty good too. All right, so we made our little school bus here. I'm gonna go ahead and take an Oreo. We're gonna separate it off just like last time, putting one towards the front using a little knife, and one towards the back. So there we have our tires. And then we're going to use our little cut pieces of the sugar paper. This one's already cut and peeled and ready to go. So we're just going to cut this into a couple more pieces. They're going everywhere. Oh, there they are. So we're just going to use these again and put them on here to act as our windows. Like I said, if you don't have this stuff, because I know a lot of people don't have it, maybe you don't want to go buy it, you could just use chocolate here. You could use a little piping bag or a sandwich bag with melted chocolate to create little windows. But I thought these were fun and different, so we used those. And then once again, we're going to go ahead and take an M&M, and we'll put it up towards the front where our stop sign would be to come in and out when you're riding to school. And we have another school bus. So here we have 3 now of our cute little school buses ready to take you on an adventure to school. I think they turned out super cute. I think they're really simple and fun. There's a lot of stuff that you're able to do on your own, which I always loved and enjoyed as a kid. So if you guys try and make these, please let us know. Feel free to leave a picture down below. I'm going to put a picture of mine so you can look at them, and maybe you could show your friends or your parents and talk to them about wanting to make them for yourself. But the first thing before you guys leave is my favorite part, which is our taste test. Oh, well, by the way, you'll just want to let these sit to harden just so the chocolate can harden. They're a little less messy then. You can eat them now, but it's easier to let them harden, and then you're not having melted chocolate everywhere. But up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and eat the one that is already hardened that I showed you at the beginning. So here it is. I'm going to, where do I want to take a bite? I think I'm just going to bite our front end off right here. That's really good. The chocolate is really good on the Rice Krispie treat. They go really well together. And I think all the Oreo and the Rice Krispie treat and the M&m, it all will go really well together. So I give it 2 thumbs up. If you have any questions about how to make these little school buses or anything like that, feel free to leave them down below and we'll get back to you on those. But I will leave a list of the ingredients and a picture for reference. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful school year. Best of luck, and have a great rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week. Bye, guys. Thank you.